The Flyin Lion says,
boys, hell is real.
2023 Supporter Shield champs.
So glad that I can be back with people who know that it's a Flyin Lion.
It shows how much we all love this club.
Yeah, just a fan of the sport, you know.
It's definitely tougher to be an academy player than it is a pro.
In this club, you don't play just for the club, you play for the fight.
Jersey swap, car of the week, trivia question of the week. Welcome back, everyone, to the Flyin Lion Podcast. We have a special episode for you guys. I know coming off of not a great week for FC Cincinnati. We wanted to spice things up a little bit. So we do have Jose Tellez from GOLZ TV. We're going to have a nice interview with him. We're excited for you guys to listen to his thoughts on, the current state of affairs in MLS, a little bit about his FC Dallas team and the matchup that we had. So we'll do a little bit of a recap with him. And then after that, we're going to roll into the second game of the week, that DC United loss that we had at home. I know you guys are all looking forward to that. And then flip side, we're going to chat on all things FC Cincinnati just from the first half of the season, some international call-ups. So hope you guys enjoy the interview, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right, today our guest on the podcast comes from the great state of Texas. He is the visionary behind GOLZ TV, the platform that we have been using to revolutionize how everybody out there is consuming soccer content in North America these days. Jose Tellez, welcome to the podcast, man.
Sam, Brian, first off, man, thank you so much for the invite. I appreciate it. Any chance I get to talk footy with literally anybody, especially, stateside creators who are trying to do the same thing we're doing, man, I'm all about it. So thanks again for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to have you on. I know, we had been talking about this since we, came on to GOLZ TV and started doing our thing on there. And we were like, we got to have you on. Like, we circled this game right before the season even started. So happy to have you on. So if you kind of want to touch on the origins for you, growing up, right, in soccer, how did we get started? What was the environment like when you were getting into it? Because we know, just like Ryan and I, we've got a little playing background as well. So give the listeners a little info on that.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. And without going through the entire weeds of it all, right? First off, man, it's so cool to see where soccer is today, just as a sport, right? When for those who I don't want to age myself too badly, but for those who kind of know where I'm at, I'm a '90s kid. I was born in '91. And actually, born in an area where I think soccer was starting to become prominent in Chicago, but that's where I was born, it's where I'm originally from. But still, even then, dude, like NFL and NBA are so massive in that market. We look at what Chicago Fire or any other really kind of group out of Chicago is doing now, and there's just not much chatter around it. But moving to Texas when I was little, it's so weird how I got into this sport, because my family, for those who don't know, my family is diehard FC Barcelona, through and through. It is something that I had no choice in the matter, right? My grandparents, my parents, everybody supports. It just ended up being my dad, I think, tried his hardest not to make soccer my entire life from the very beginning. Right? So he was like, look, let's just let this kid have a childhood, and then we'll see kind of where he goes from there. And I think what it was I think he didn't want me to be so engulfed in the fandom, which I think everybody in our family is. Half the time it's all they talk about. And I think he just wanted me to fall in love with playing. So when we moved from Chicago to Texas, specifically Dallas, this was, 98, something like that, 99. We didn't know what to get me involved in. I was playing a little bit of basketball and soccer up north. But then when we got here, the first league my dad found, of course, was a local soccer league. And I started playing, and then, dude, I mean, the gap, bridging the gap between me playing and what my family was talking about all the time happened like this, right? So I think he didn't mean for it to happen this way, but it just so happened that my love for Barca grew tenfold in a matter of 2 weeks. And everything I saw in the games, keep in mind back then we're watching games bootleg, we're picking up games like movies at a flea market, trying to watch Barca any way that we could here in the States. And everything that I saw, I just try to mimic whenever I was playing. So that's kind of the origin, man. But back then, you got to keep in mind, it was the nerdiest thing in the world to be a soccer fan.
It's true. No,
by far.
You're absolutely right. And even back then, MLS was just kicking off too.
Dude, my dad would bring me to the Dallas Burn games. That's what we were back then. We were the Dallas Burn. And I remember watching games of the Cotton Bowl. And first off, I remember my dad telling me to appreciate it. And I didn't really understand what he meant by it back then. but like he meant like appreciate it because we just didn't know how long it was going to be around. Had no
It
idea.
was not, it was not self-sustaining at all.
Ah, man, not at all. And that's that Dallas had a pretty good team. Like back then, Jason Kreis, Ariel Graziani, Oscar Pareja, who's coaching for Orlando. Like just having all these players that were pretty damn good. Right there in your backyard, 20, 25 minutes from the house. And like, we just didn't know if this was going to be a thing, and all of my friends in grade school, like nobody cared, man. It's so insane now to imagine a world where I can't talk to anyone about El Clasico. I can't talk to anybody about prime Messi versus Ronaldo. Like it just wasn't a thing, Like everybody cared about who the Cowboys were playing at the weekend. Like nobody cared. So
it's flipped. It's flipped.
It's insane now, right? Like now, I mean, like I said, I'm kind of a Dallas fan just growing up here as far as Cowboys go, but like I'm not really like an NFL guy. Like it's there. There was probably once upon a time in college when everybody was into it that I was like, I played fantasy football to get into it, but it was never really my thing, Like soccer was always it. And so like now it's crazy to see how it's just flipped. But fortunately for me, I was decently good playing in my youth days, scaled club soccer all the way to the point of playing for FC Dallas Academy and did that for a couple seasons and got a chance to play college ball. Like that was the path back then. There was no like clear cut path to pro. It was like, if you got a chance to play in college, you were probably one of the better ones. And like, that was really it. If you got a chance to really go pro, you were the top 1% of the top 1%. And I have a couple, thankfully I just have like a network of more than a few friends who've gone on and done it. So that's awesome. But yeah, man, I never thought I was going to go pro. Never once did I think that. I just wanted to keep playing as long as I could.
Love the game, man. Yeah, I feel like too, the famed FC Dallas Academy, from what we hear. But even back then, like it wasn't as much of a thing. Like you said, like you even had to go into more of the college ranks through things. So it's amazing to see how things have like transformed. How has your relationship and your fandom for the team kind of shifted over time too?
It's crazy, man, because I think the academy is, and I would say the club in general, they do a really good job of this. I think that's how I got into getting back into watching the pro team. Because keep in mind, I was a big fan of the Dallas Burn. So when that branding went away, I was actually pissed. I actually thought it wasn't a good move at all. When I was playing in my youth club days, we actually used to play against a youth side called FC Dallas. And they were yellow and blue and like they were like a grassroots club that had been around for a while. It was like the easiest name in the world to like pick up and just give everyone an idea of who you were. And so I thought, like, when we moved away from Burn, and there was the announcement of a rebrand when I was a kid, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see it. It's going to be the coolest thing in the world. And they just took this team that I'd played against all growing up, that was the most basic name and branding of all time, and slapped it over the club that I loved. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Do we miss that a little bit in the MLS collectively, right? Just like regular names, not, football club or soccer club, like actual names,
Yes. 1,000% yes. Like if I could go back, like if you look at some of the like the only like the merch that I bought in the last few years, it's only been like retro Dallas Burn branded things. Yeah, because I just don't. It's nothing against SC Dallas as a brand now. Like I'll still support the team through and through. I've been a season ticket holder for multiple seasons before. It's just, yeah, I really miss it, man. I really miss it, and it felt original back then, and now it's like, yeah, it's just cookie cutter. Not a fan.
True. It's starting to come back, the vintage stuff a little bit, but yeah, no, I would agree with that. So that leading up now to this matchup, Jose, we're talking, the big matchup, FC Cincinnati, FC Dallas, the Lucho game, as we marked it on our calendar. Give us kind of your initial thoughts of what you thought of this match going into it.
Dude, going into it, I'm not gonna lie, I thought we were gonna get smacked. I just expected it. I think I have a lot of respect for Cincy. I think the Hell is Real derby is the biggest derby in the league. I think it's super difficult to walk into Lucho or not. Let's say we didn't even have Lucho Acosta. Putting that aside, I feel like it's super difficult to walk into a stadium like the TQL and expect to get anything from it as an away team. And so going into that game, I was like, great, Lucho is a big help because he's going to have to be. Like I don't see a world where we don't need every piece that we can possibly get against a team this good. And so going in, I was like, man, bro, if we lose by one, I'm happy. Like to an extent, right? And if we walk away with anything, a point, whatever, I'm in dreamland. We're good. Yeah. I'm fine with that. So that was particularly my thoughts going in. Even with Lucho Acosta, I think you guys are a very well-oiled machine in
Well,
Cincinnati.
even coming into the game too, you guys had a couple injuries, right? I know Chu was out still, right? Leget's still out.
Yeah, man, Leggett still, man, he's like barely working his way back now. It's kind of crazy, like 9 games in a row. And it's also at the same time crazy that we're dependent on like a 31, 32-year-old midfielder. But at the same time, yeah, missing some players. Layout Chu, man, he's had some moments since coming on board, but honestly, because of injuries, he's just been a little bit disappointing. We haven't really seen what he can do yet. But getting Musa back for the Cincy game was also like a very big thing, so pros and cons. And I was just hoping that, man, Lucho and Musa hopefully be on the same page. Maybe we'll get some spark off the bench, which we technically did. And we can definitely talk about the game now. But yeah, man, going into it, I was pretty intimidated, not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like you give us so much respect, and like from what we've seen with some recent results, it's like, yeah, on paper, but we haven't, seen it all put together. So it's very interesting, like from the other side. So I appreciate that perspective. Yeah, as we get into the game, like the first half for us, like
it was exactly what you just talked about.
Yeah,
one of the best halves we've seen, man. And from our standpoint, like having Denke score that PK. I don't know, Jose, if you got to see this one, but how was there no card given, on this play?
You mean on the penalty specifically on Boss? Yeah, it was crazy, man. I would say it's the most MLS call of all time. We have plenty of those. There's a bunch of those, to be honest, and some against us. And I always complain, but it's like when it happens to us, I'm like, it goes back and forth, right? Yeah, exactly. It
goes back.
Yeah. So when it happened, I'm like, all right, I'm grateful, but I know that when I'm on the other side of this coin, I can't stand up in arms and complain all that much at the end of the day, because this happens in Major League Soccer all the time. But yes, should have been a card. And honestly, man, I don't know what Boss was thinking. Like in my mind, I'm like, even talking about like this, even the last few matches that Dallas has had, and as I prepared even for this show coming in tonight, I go back and I watch that play and I'm like, it just wasn't necessary. He didn't have to come out and slide. Denke probably was on his way towards the byline, wasn't probably going to even have time to turn and actually go to goal. He'd probably have to find someone in the middle. It just was so unnecessary. And so, one, the idea that he would put Dallas in jeopardy that way still kind of blows my mind with how long he's been our starting keeper. But then two, it's also like, we got away with one. We got away. The PK, in all honesty, was like, dude, they were probably going to get a goal scoring opportunity anyway. At least we don't go down to 10 men, which just happened to us against Philadelphia. So, yeah, man, really, really lucky. And at the end of the day, a well-deserved goal from Cincinnati's part, but we were super lucky not to be down to 10 men.
He almost makes a save on the PK too. Like, I think that's what was crazy.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I think he has, PKs, I think he actually plays pretty well overall, but I feel like Boss has taken somewhat of a step back this season. I feel like last season he was out, like lights out, just playing an insane level. Maybe it was the whole Indonesia goalkeeper thing, getting call-ups there and like really putting on for his nation. But yeah, man, I don't know. Boss, to me, whether it's decision-making or just flat-out ability, I feel like he's regressed slightly.
Yeah, and so absolutely. Go ahead. I was just going to say, Sam, like at half, it's 2-0, and you're on the road. Like the message comes from your interim manager, in this one, because Quill was out, I believe, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
so, I mean, for them to flip it around, like within the first couple minutes, you get a goal and you build in the game, and it was just hard to watch from our standpoint, from you guys, though, just to building some confidence, and feel like you're back in the game. 2-0 is the most dangerous score, man.
Yeah, you're telling me, man. And it's we've done it multiple times this season. It happened against Miami too. And like, I don't know, in a weird way, it's good and bad, right? It's like, okay, great. We have this resiliency to do this in matches against some of the biggest opponents in the league. But at the same time, we play down to our competition so often. And then somewhere in the middle, it's like, why do we wait until we're down 2-0 to like really start picking up the pace, the manner in which we play? I think some of it is the players that we have. I think a bigger part of it is, in fact, the manager. I think at the end of the day, he's still in his earliest days of his career. I'm not knocking USL Championship when I say this, but he was managing at a lower level last season. It kind of is what it is. Did some great things in New Mexico United and is a FC Dallas / Dallas Burn player really through and through. He comes from the club. So on multiple levels, it makes sense to have hired him and kept him. But I think it's in games like this against top opponents where it's almost like he has to get punched in the mouth repeatedly to like wake up and like really do something with our squad that allows us to be relevant at some point in these matches. So good and bad from my perspective.
Yeah, you could definitely see it was a flip of the switch in the second half. I mean, they have chances right out of the gate. They get a goal, right? And now it's 2-1, right? And you're like, oh, geez. And then Ryan, who was it? Is Julio, right? His last name, I believe.
Anderson Julio.
Was that their sub, Ryan? That you were like, he changed the game in the second half.
I felt like.
I think Pedrinho was probably, in my perspective, like Julio did for sure. He always does. I think he just like he causes havoc with his speed down the flank. But I feel like it was, for my perspective, I think he got the assist on Julio's goal. Was Pedrinho, right? And like, keep in mind, he's, Dallas has this like reputation of progressing players within its system and getting them to the first team. Pedrinho's like another one of those. Didn't come from Dallas's academy per se, but came through the ranks at North Texas SC, which was our MLS Next Pro team. And after having an insane campaign last season, went on to win the title with North Texas. Now gets his shot with Dallas. I think he probably is our impact player off the bench. We don't really have many of those. He's probably like our only one or one of the two. So, yeah, man, I think he's been a breath of fresh air, and like he showed it again against Cincy.
We could use that. We just don't have the off the bench thing going for us right now. But yeah, you guys get back into the game, and it's 2-2. You're feeling like at that point pretty solid. I mean, from your standpoint, from ours, we lost this lead like from out of nowhere almost, but we get a goal late and you're feeling again like, hey, this might be it. You're at home, you're riding that. And then you guys get this late goal, man, and tie it up. And what a match, that it was. It was awesome to be able to talk with you about it. Yeah, thoughts, I guess, coming out of that. And then we want to ask you obviously about, what you thought of Lucho's return to Cincy.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, when the third goal went in from Cincy, I was like, of course. Like, this is it. It's exactly what I thought. Like, it built me up just to slam me back down. Like, that's pretty much how I thought the game would go to an extent. And I did say it's like, it's one of those trap questions I think fans ask themselves a lot, when you watch games like this. It's like, if you'd have told me before the game, we walk into the TQL and lose 3-2. It's a close game, got a couple goals. We withstood pressure from a great team in the league. I probably would have been okay with it. Probably would have been. But the manner in which it happens, and it's I feel like it's the last few seasons summed up in a nutshell. I'm like, why this way? Why does it have to happen this way? Why this minute? And even the goal, the way it went, I don't know. Just all of it made me just brought up every negative feeling I've had over the last few seasons.
Yeah, it wasn't even like a true like almost game-winning goal, right? It took a couple bounces, a couple deflections, and you're like, that's
how we're gonna lose this game. Yeah, that's how we're gonna lose this game. And this is how I felt pretty much since 2023. It's just kind of like in cycles, right? Whether in the regular season or in playoffs, like it's just kind of like how Dallas concedes goals and loses games. And then the equalizer, man. I'll be honest too. It coming from Ibeagha, I have not had many kind words to say about that man this season. Have not had that many. No disrespect to him obviously as a person, right? It is simply as a center back. I just don't. It's amazing to me that we were willing to let go of Tafari, let him go to LAFC when he was our best center back last season, and we kept Ibeagha, and he's still our starter. I'm a little bit perplexed at that and confused. I don't know what the logic is, but he shut me up in epic fashion. When he scored the goal, I thought it was Eurogida at first. And like just a quick glance, and I look over, I was like, oh my goodness, it's Ibeagha. I was like, I'm sorry. I hold my hands up, man. I wasn't familiar with your game. And at least he redeemed himself because he's had more than a few howlers already this season. But yeah, man, I mean, the equalizer, the 3-3, it took me by surprise. I did not think Dallas could do this again in the month of May. Because we did it at Miami just a few weeks ago after being down 3-1. And so, yeah, man, I mean, all in all, overall happy with the result. I'm glad we got a crucial point on the road against a good team. Still, I felt like the first half was just like a gimme to Cincinnati. But yeah, we're here now. Can't complain about it too much. In terms of Lucho, man, you could hear the boos from the beginning, like instantly. The minute kickoff hit, you guys are loud, proud. And I think his comments at the end of the game, I'm very 50-50 on this, right? Because in my mind, I'm like, yeah, he's justified in what he said to an extent. I think that too often fans forget that there's like a human there behind the jersey who felt a strong connection to a fan base, achieved all of these things the fan base hadn't seen before, or experienced before. And then like, yeah, because of one moment throughout his entire tenure, he's kind of just judged, and that's a lasting impression he leaves, right? Is like, I understand how he feels. At the same time, looking back at it, it does feel like the way the words came out, and this is where sometimes it's like, I guess when you do an interview in Spanish and like you say the way that you felt, not everything translates perfectly to English. And so I know that just being Mexican American myself. And so when I hear him say like, I feel like I deserved more or something, or he feels like he deserved gratitude from the fans, it sounds a little bit entitled, but at the same time, it's like, does he deserve that? Like, actually, I think so to an extent, but I don't think he should be surprised at all either. Like you should expect that, but at the same time, also expect the boos because of the way that you left, because of the manner in which you kind of started to force your way out. Like I think the fans still, it's just a matter of like the wound is still fresh. It's still open, right? I think had we played you guys 3 years down the line and Lucho was still with Dallas,
100%.
I don't think it would have been like that.
100%.
I really don't.
Yeah, everyone just could remember. You know, it was just a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the reaction here. Was it a little harsh? Like, I love the guy to death and what he did here. But at the same token, the way you leave, like you said, you just can't do that to us and expect that you're not going to get some of those. And it was full-fledged, you know, from our Bailey, from our support, section. There was no, tribute video. That was the other question that was going around,
That was a surprise. That was a surprise.
That was a little bit of
me.
a surprise,
Yeah.
but I agree with you. I think if this is down the line, it's a different story. It's a different reaction. And ultimately, I think everyone, loves the player, loves what he's done here. So we'll see where that goes. And if they ever kind of link up in this situation again, I mean, obviously, you have Vasquez in the Western Conference, but I don't know how many other chances we're going to get to have to play him. Maybe that's his last time at TQL. Like, that's what's interesting.
Yeah, I kind of made this point on the GOLZ TV YouTube channel when we talked about this. I was like, it just shows you at the same time the boos that what he actually meant to the fans.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, right? Like Austin visits you guys later this season, right? And I don't see a scenario where Vasquez gets that reception. I just don't see it. Not that he didn't mean that much, not anything to the fans. It's just that the connection was.
Yeah, he left differently.
Yeah, he left differently. I think he also didn't achieve what Lucho was able to achieve. I think when Vasquez left, Lucho still found a way to somewhat carry the offense. There was just a lot that I think he helped achieve. And like when you decide that that's the route that you want to go, I'm not saying it's wrong or right by the fans, by the way. If I was shedding my actual opinion, I will say I think sometimes we're spoiled as fans. Yeah. And I think that sometimes it's like I said, it's easy to forget the human behind the jersey. And I felt like in this sense, it was like, damn, it seems kind of harsh. I think that was the response that everybody had, and I think the trend that you seem to reiterate now is time heals all wounds, right? Yes.
Like Ryan said, if we don't play this season, and it's like a normal like Western comp where like, hey, we don't play you until 3 years down the road, right? I think he gets a tribute video. I think he gets cheers more than boos, and we're able to heal that a little bit more.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy though, because even Luka Doncic got a tribute video coming back to the Dallas Mavs. Like that's what I'll say about that. It's like that's kind of wild. But
wild.
but putting that stuff aside, again, I think equally Lucho should take it as like, bro, you obviously meant this much. They went out of their way.
It affected him a lot in that match too.
Yeah, and all honesty, man, like, and we could, this might put the bow on just Dallas this season. I've been of the firm belief that Dallas has a Lucho problem. Lucho's a great player, but he does need pieces around him to be as effective as he can be in this team, and I think Dallas is still missing that. And so when we want to do the things we want to do, I say we have a Lucho problem in the sense that he just doesn't fit in quite as easily as he did with Cincinnati.
Are you guys missing that Jesus Ferreira piece, or that that piece that may have left in the past transfer window? Is that what you're touching on, or is it somewhere something else?
Yeah, well, a little, but I would say yes and no. Yes, we're missing a piece, but I don't think it's Ferreira. I think we're actually missing a Yaramendi. I think that's probably the perfect, like, someone to bridge the back line to the midfield. And I think that just calm things down when it's necessary. And also just someone to slow the game down so much that you can find your best players in the field. I feel like right now we're so front to back counter-attacking heavy that Lucho sometimes doesn't even get found until we're 20 minutes into the half. Right. And then it's like, okay, well, what have we been doing the whole time? Well, we've been trying to just press and get the ball back. And when we do, we go right back to the front and find Musa. Before you know it, Lucho gets skipped over. I don't know how many times. So yeah, I just think we have a somewhat of a Lucho problem that Quill has to figure out. And I think that if Quill can't get it done, it does show his inexperience a little bit. So we'll see if he can figure it out.
Yeah, man. I think this was fun, and just watching this game and how it ended. Like, obviously, we would have wanted to win, you guys too. But great match overall. The Lucho situation always going to be interesting. We did want to touch a little bit, Jose, while you're here with us, just kind of giving us the background of GOLZ TV and letting our listeners know, how this came to be, how they can kind of get involved. We'll chat a little bit here, at the end part of this as well. Moving forward, your vision for things and what we're seeing for the World Cup for, next year as well.
Yeah, man, it's a great question. It's a great question. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy too, right? A year out from the World Cup.
There.
Almost there. I feel like there should be more hype too. That's something that's somewhat disappointing. And maybe it's due to the down sentiment around our national team at the moment.
No, it's definitely the Club World Cup. What are you talking about? It's
got yeah.
Come on.
There should be more hype around that too, to be honest.
Sure.
But I mean, I think to answer your question outright, we're excited. Everyone in this country should be. Everyone in this continent should be. And I think as we start to get closer to like the holidays and whatnot, we're like 6 months away. I think it's going to be insane. But when I think about GOLZ TV, man, and kind of what we're doing, where we're going, it's kind of crazy how when people ask me today, like how we started and how I think about the platform growing, I always say before the inception story of GOLZ TV was simple. It was, I believed that you two are the perfect example. I believed that there's a world one day where the folks who are leaned on as the authority for soccer analysis, entertainment, information, whatever it may be, it's going to shift from the players of yesteryear and the pundits of yesteryear to the fans of tomorrow. And I believe that for the two biggest reasons of no one's more passionate or authentic than a fan, and I guarantee you at the same time, no one's more knowledgeable. Like, I just don't believe pundits who are required to cover an entire league, even on Apple TV today, are going to be quite as informed and staying as up to date on every rumor, every possible story around a respective club as the folks who live in that market. I just don't believe that. And there were so many just like, there's so much content that I was watching from folks like ESPN FC or like Sky Sports or whatever, where I was like, this is a terrible take. Like, I don't think I'd ever get this from a fan who is actually a fan of that club. And I'm not saying fans aren't biased, but like there's still ball knowledge that factors in that some of these legacy media studios and outlets just, I think, either refuse to have or just don't know. Yeah, out of touch. And that was always the inception story, was like, I believe a platform should exist where a brand new fan can discover the most knowledgeable and authentic voices in North America as the world's beautiful game starts to take over, right? That was always the inception story around GOLZ TV. Today, though, it's partly that, and I think what we're kind of working towards is now that that is kind of our inception story, how does that lead us to where we want to go? And what does that world look like? And I think in my mind, that world, as we think about new fans who are going to discover the game because of the World Cup next year, who will tune into their very first full 90 match because of the World Cup, where should they be going first? And when they do discover creators, content, and maybe even a team that they like and want to support, where do they go from there, right? Like, do they just consume all the time? Is that how the beautiful game grows over here, where it's just not the preeminent sport? I don't think so. I don't think that's the stopping point. I think the end goal is you guys, Ryan and Sam, to be honest. Perfect example. People who become fans who consume as much, who scale from consuming a little bit to consuming a lot as much as possible, fans who find their own team, and then eventually fans who decide that they want to put their opinions on the internet in one way or another. It could be written form, could be video, could be audio, something in between, who knows? But I think at some point, that's where it goes. And when I think about what impact and footprint I want GOLZ to have, it's legitimately like, how how do we enable as many of these brand new fans that we're going to come into contact with as possible? And it's like, okay, how do we do that? I think the best, I don't know specifically the mechanisms that we want to deploy with the next version of GOLZ TV that we're building, technically speaking. But I do know that the end goal action wise is I want someone mentally to go through that journey, discover the sport, find a player or a team they love, start watching the game all the time, and then eventually be like, you know what? I have an opinion that I need to share. I need to get out there. And I think that footy on this side of the world needs to go down the same path that gaming did back in COVID. I think that's what gaming was already on the trajectory of becoming like the biggest form of online entertainment when COVID hit. COVID just like pumped steroids into that. That's basically what happened. Everyone's like, okay, we're online. Like I'm just going to do what everybody else is doing and start gaming and watching gaming creators and doing all those things. I think that's inevitable with football or soccer. We just need a platform that showcases the beauty of this game, the content around it, and more importantly, show how easy it is, how obstacle free it can be. So just pick up a mic, turn on a camera, and start putting your opinions on the internet. And if we can enable someone, a brand new fan, to do that one time, I feel confident we get them to do it twice. We get them to do it 5 times, 10 times, 25 times. And before you know it, this is just who they are, right? I don't think it's going to be every single fan out there, but I think it will be the majority. And I want them to feel like there's a place on the internet that's not going to judge them, troll them, ridicule the hell out of them. At the end of the day, parts of the internet have become that. Hashtag Twitter. But it's okay. I think I still use Twitter. Every platform has its place. Right. I just think with this sport being still so new over here, there has to be a place that enables the most casual fan in the world to consume so much content that they want to become a creator themselves. I think we do that with enough people, the game will truly take off and reach the next level.
Yeah, no, well said, man. I echo that. I told you that, when we first met as well, but to centralize things, as well from our standpoint and get all of those collective minds that care so much and where people can find it so centrally. I think that's what I respect a lot about it. And if I want to go and look at, what everyone's thoughts are about the FC Dallas team before we play them, that's what I can do, with you guys. So we really appreciate that and what you're building. Looking into, I want to hear a little bit, if you don't mind, to rant a little bit. Are you a U.S. supporter then for like the national team?
That's such a loaded question. That's a great question, actually, but it's a loaded question. And you guys probably, you might be the first ones to ask me that point blank. Because I think depending on like who I'm talking to, it's like a mixed bag answer. Okay. But so I will say, yes, I am a U.S. men's national team supporter. And I'm also an L3 supporter.
All right.
Right. And so it's a very rare breed and rare combination. And it's like, being Mexican American, man, it's so unique. It's so unique because my dad dies on the hill of 03. I've watched this man cry at World Cups. Like it's tough. It's very, very difficult. I was with him. I remember in 06 when Maxi Rodriguez scored that banger in extra time against Mexico and ended, their World Cup hopes in the round of 16. No era penal, all of that stuff, right? Like all of that, against the Dutch and whatnot. But at the same time, man, I grew up playing my footy here in the States. I grew up in a U.S.-specific development academy. And I have former teammates who have gone on to represent the U.S. men's national team. So it's just like when you have that core of an allegiance, right? And like coaches that you've played under and have a relationship with. And I don't have any of that from the Mexican side. I just really have my family who lives and breathes it. They don't even, I think there was a point where my dad was like, nah, you got to pick one, man. Like, I don't think you could just do both. I think like now though, he gets it. I think he understands. It's like, I love the best of both worlds. And is it difficult when they play each other? Oh yeah, it's super difficult. If I could wear a split kit down the middle, I really would. But it's just, I want them. It's weird, man, with the rivalry. I want them both to be successful. Like I really do in their own right. I want them both to be successful, and success, in all honesty, is different for both squads. It's not just progressing in the major tournaments. Like US has a different layer of what I call success because at the end of the day, Mexico has achieved things with their federation that US has never achieved. And vice versa. With the senior national team right now, this group of players is technically better than the Mexican national team players. And so there's just a lot of push and pull. But yeah, man, that's a hell of a question. I don't get that one often. But I will be honest and transparent. Just say like I do actively support both, um, but for very different reasons.
Sure. Well, and even on both sides, like it's such a unique time, coming off
Yeah.
of all the major tournaments and,
Gold
from
Cup
one
coming
side
up,
winning the
yeah.
recent tournaments, the other side like epically failing. Like it's such an interesting storyline, like leading up to next year. And like we said earlier, like I wish there was just more said about it, more hype about it. And I'm sure we'll get that as we get closer, but maybe we'll get that a little bit this summer too, as I guess Club World Cup's going on too, in addition to Gold Cup. But it's interesting.
Yeah, no, 100%, man, 100%. And when these summers come around, man, I always get a little bit nervous, like for multiple reasons with both teams. But I don't know, man. It's at the same time, the one sentiment that's shared across both these teams right now is the fact that like both of them are just in down spells for whatever reason. And Mexico fans will say like, oh, last couple results or whatever with Jimenez scoring banger goals and this and that. I don't care about that. I'm talking about the overarching sentiment
Right.
around the national team. I think both sets of fans feel for different reasons that this may be some of the worst soccer they've seen from their national teams in recent years. And it's hard to blame them. It really is hard to blame them. So, I've been a tortured fan for I don't know how many years as a Dallas fan. Again, 30 plus years, no MLS Cup. A couple Open Cups, but that's not the same thing. And then again with our national teams, man, it's like we're always the bridesmaid, never the bride, I guess you could say to an extent, So I don't know. It's I was hoping by the time a World Cup came back around to North America that like, oh man, we would be in much I'm saying this like 10 plus years ago. Oh, we're going to be in so much better position, both US and Mexico, probably going to be ballers by the time the World Cup comes. And lo and behold, man, we may be more down bad than we've been in quite some time. So,
Oh, I know.
we'll see.
We'll see. We got, a couple friendlies and then, another cup competition coming up internationally. So I don't know. We'll see what happens out of that. But
Yeah.
Jose, thanks for joining us. Before we sign off here, tell our listeners where they can keep up with not only your socials, but everything going on with GOLZ TV.
Yeah, man. Look, I think if you want to follow GOLZ TV, please do. At GOLZ_TV. On most platforms outside of Instagram. On Instagram, it's GOLZ.TV. And I think, look, if you want to follow me personally, I try my hardest not to tweet so much about the teams that I love because it just only leads to pain. So I'm trying my hardest not to. But if you want to, it's my old gamer tag. I've had it for years now. It's Bromigo, ITSBROMIGO. Banter with me there. I have a lot of hot takes on MLS. People love arguing with me on the timeline. I have a good time with it. But outside of that, man, any support that you guys do show GOLZ TV, I sincerely appreciate it. If you want to check out the platform, you can find it at GOLZ.TV.
Absolutely, Jose. Thanks again.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks again to Jose from GOLZ TV for joining us for this episode. We had a nice conversation with him. Always appreciate him coming on and giving his thoughts, even if it was, a tie for us, but overall a good game. If you're looking at it from a neutral standpoint, Sam, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was great for Jose to come on. Love talking to him. Like we talked about, if you had listened to the 100th episode, shouted him and GOLZ TV out, being able to give us the opportunity to partner. It's been a great opportunity to get to know him. I know Ryan, you and him are dads, right? So you got that in common. Be able to mess with the kids. You got more to life than obviously just the podcast. So it's great. Just working with him, and I can't wait to have him on again. Maybe just for another reason, not just Lucho coming into town.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, as you guys have probably listened to, we're going to talk a little bit about like the landscape in the US, and like the big thing that he got me pumped about is just the World Cup coming, next year, and getting the excitement for that, and how GOLZ TV can kind of get you guys hyped and ready to go for that, and some of the content that they have. Go check it out. They have interviews with Eric Winaldo over there as well, so that's pretty cool. But Sam, like I mentioned at the very beginning, we'll get into match day 17. This marks the halfway spot after this game for the MLS season. And for FC Cincinnati, we unfortunately had a 1-2 loss at home to, of all teams, DC United. Like, it's just kind of hard to even roll that one off the tongue. But yeah, we struggled in the past against DC at home. Only one win in our history, being back in 2023 during that Supporter Shield run. Kind of an interesting tidbit, from that little bit of rivalry, if you want to call it. Not really a rivalry at all. But going into this one, I mean, I was hoping there'd be a big response from the squad. So what did you see in the match day 11? What things surprised you?
Yeah, I know, like you said, we're coming into this game, and I had no idea about the stat until, we were looking post game. But yeah, I mean, if you were a betting man coming into this game, you're looking at this game going, well, FC Cincinnati generally aren't really good at home against DC United. The other 3 wins in our history have come away. So playing at home against DC, it was going to be, they were a squad without Benteke. We knew that coming in, and the squad was rotated again, Ryan. I mean, from this FC Dallas game, I know both games we were very surprised. If you want to go into the lineup here, I know we've got Roman, Lucas Engel, Teenage Adebe, Matt Miazga, Miles Robinson, then Yedlin in the back, and then you see Anunga back in the starting lineup with Buka in the middle, Evander, Dotto, and Denke up there as our strikers. But Ryan, what were your thoughts on this rotated squad? I know you and I had talked about the FC Dallas game, how it was more rotated than we would have thought. And then, the result of the FC Dallas game coming into this game, you would have been like, oh, we're going to put an even better lineup out so that way we could at least get 3 points at home, having 2 games back to back at home.
I mean, it, I guess, has to come down to where the guys are, from what he's seeing in training. It has to, because otherwise, like, I don't know what we're doing. Like, we have Sam past this game, we have 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
So get something positive. You're at home. You want to put your best foot forward. So again, I'm not there every day. I'm not having the conversations with the players. So we can only assume, and that's what we do on the podcast, right? For a lot of it, but we give our kind of our best opinions on what we think and what we're seeing. And to me, like in that first half of that Dallas game, that's the best or one of the best you've seen them play. You go up 2-0, and then past that, you kind of get completely away from it in the next 3 halves of soccer. So yeah, coming out with rolling with Anunga, I just was like, I don't know where this is coming from. And then with a little bit of the rotation with Teenage in the back, maybe instead of Flores, and then Dado, up front with Denke, like it was just odd because you did so well with Santos the game before to start the game. Like, what, I don't know where that's coming from.
Also Dado as a number 9 instead of as a number 10.
He kind of dropped in a little bit more than staying up high, but you lost something in the midfield. And, from the very start of this game, your game plan just goes completely out the window. Second minute of the game, you get scored on a set piece, which at the time was the 3rd one of the week that we had gotten scored on, from a set piece. And you're thinking like, man, like we got 88 minutes to figure this out, I guess. It can only go up from here. But it's just pitiful communication. The ball, let's talk about the ball down, played into the channel. Hadebe goes over, arguably doesn't get any contact on the guy. You still have to defend the set piece. Well, when all of your guys are pretty much around the 6 and you leave a guy wide open at the top of the box, he's going to punish you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touch on that foul, right? It's right near the end line. Like you don't need to do that much defending because the end line is acting as a defender for you. So you really don't have to do too much there. And he just, I mean, even if he doesn't get anything, right, or barely get something, it's still something and it's inside the box. So unfortunately, like you said, yeah, just a clear mistake too on the free kick. And if you look at the free kick and slow it down on the near post, Anunga is actually supposed to go out and get that guy. But I think there was somewhat of like a pick play, right, that was played. DC United guy runs in front of him, kind of picks him a little bit, and the guy is able to slot it away easily. I mean, honestly, beautiful goal, like great goal, but just a lapse of judgment on our part by far.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a trend over a couple of seasons now. How many like corner kick goals and set piece goals they're finding? Like teams are definitely seeing that they can exploit that.
Absolutely.
And, like this one's straight from the training ground. Like it's something that you create in FIFA and like draw up and then you perfect it. Like it was a good play. But it's not the reaction you want from a Wednesday night game at home that you should have won. And then to get scored on right away, it's
in the second minute.
It's a gut punch. Like again, like so who do you rely upon in those moments? And luckily, only 13 minutes later, we did have one of our big guns, Evander, running down, creating in the box, sliding it over for Danke to finish on his left foot for his, at the time, 11th goal now, on the MLS season. And it was a nice goal, Sam. We had seen a little bit of building between these guys, but the final product was there. He takes it in, he scores, and you feel like you're back in it.
Well, yeah, he hits it first time, right? Like that's the biggest thing that I take away from this goal is that first time, which I think we were calling for him to do a little bit more of. I know we've seen his phenomenal dribbling in the box, like that's without a question. But let's put a shot on goal. Like let's just throw something right at the dartboard, see if it sticks. Which obviously the game before we put on. Well, no, the game before DC game DC Dallas game. Sorry, Dallas game. 28 shots on goal, right? So we did it then. But yeah, it was nice to see Danke put one on. And like you said, we got one back and we're feeling okay. Like let's reset. Game on. It's 0-0 right now.
Yeah, and then you just can't play like. I guess after you score, there's always just a letdown. Like I talked about it last time, is like you have to pick it up after, you get a goal, like if you're in the lead, or in this case, to tie, like you have to build on that. And 19th minute, again, a short corner placed perfectly, but nobody to put a body on a guy. Like get up and win the ball. Like every single time there's a ball whipped into the box, I'm worried now. Every single time. So you go down 1-2, and again, it's early, at that point. Like you have a solid 70 minutes, maybe even to get another goal back, but nothing past that moment made me feel like we were threatening or even wanted to do. Like it was like, oh, well, we're back in it, and then they score again. They're like, oh, well, we tried. And there was individual efforts. That's what I will say. The rest of this game, if you look at some chances, like a Yedlin cross to Kamara, great moment. Some Luka Orishano moments where he's creating, like you see that effort, but there isn't a sustained team effort on the offensive end, in my opinion, that really makes you feel like you're even behind a goal. Like at what point does it have to be from the sideline if the players aren't sensing it, like that we have to seek some initiative here to try to get a goal? Like it just didn't seem threatening.
I think the biggest thing that you're seeing, right, is the initiative that they're trying to take individually and rather than as a team. You could see those moments, like you say, Luka Orishano had a shot on goal, but it was like right at the keeper, right? In moments like that, look at the film. Evander is visibly upset, wide open, right outside the 18 there. And it's just the relationships, right? You see that, and it's just out of touch. The guys aren't getting the ball when they think they should be getting the ball, or aren't passing when, it's all discombobulated. And like you said, we weren't really threatening at all in the second half. Like we had chances, but they were like,
This is like something you should see in the second game of the year or the third game of the year, not the 17th game of the year, when you've had some good moments. I mean, I challenge this team to have a solid 90 minutes that they can show me that they're sustaining good moments. You see spurts of it. You see the first half in Dallas. You just don't see a full 90 minutes, and it's composure. It's coming down to, like you said, playing like a team. This one unfortunately ends 1-2 because you just don't have that like drive to win. Like where's the moxie, Sam? So coming out of it, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It's one of the worst I've seen, this team play in years. 1 point out of 3 matches against 3 teams towards the bottom of their respective conferences.
Well, and you look towards the end of the game, Ryan, and I think the sub appearance of, Flores not coming in, right? And
tells
Brad
you everything
Smith,
you need now.
A left back being subbed in instead of him. Like you said, tells you everything you need to know as far as we just don't know what works right now. We just don't, and we're just trying to throw anything out there, and we don't have a true, set of 11 guys that we can put out there week in, week out and go, all right, we're going to get a result.
Well, and that's the thing for me. I don't care, like, if some guys have individual games where they're not performing, they should know that, hey, I'm going to lose that spot. Like, right now, it just doesn't
accountability.
Feel like, well, accountability, or like saying, go and take that position, make it mine. Like, Dotto has forced his way into the starting lineup. against again, I don't know why we're not having him start on Wednesday,
Yeah.
but like force your way into that lineup and then say that's mine. What did we do in 2023, Sam, that we were so good at? Consistent lineups. And guess what? You're going to get consistent results out of that.
Yeah,
Like
last
maybe
year
it's
was just
not
lucky.
good long term. Like I think he looked at that season and was like, man, I wore down a lot of guys, but those guys knew how to play together. And when every single game there's switches in the attack with Santos, with Dotto, am I a striker? Am I a 10? Am I a winger? Am I a left back like with Luca? I mean, how do you expect them to perform well? You put Luca Orishano on the left wing back next to Flores, who hadn't played with him all season long. Like, there's just moments where I just scratch my head and like simplify it. Get guys to stay in their one positions. It's the problem is like he's throwing it at the wall because it just hasn't worked. And I think at some point you got to say, well, you're going to have some growing moments, but you got to stick to it. Like, what's the game plan?
Yeah.
And then you can't keep switching it up every single time. Like I know we're calling for change, but like at some point you need consistency too. So it's a balance of that. And again, I'm not having those conversations with the guys. I don't see where they're at in training. I don't know where their fitness at. Unfortunately, out of this one, Sam, we lose Matt Miazga. So how does that affect the team? How does the team losing Nick Haglund now look? In the back line, giving up 9 goals in 3 games. So I don't think it's solely on one person, but somebody's got to say next man in, and I got to grab this spot and make it my own.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, right now, sitting 4 points off of first in the East,
Which is wild.
Which is wild. Still second in the East. So thank goodness for everybody else below us continue to drop points.
And if there's any positivity out of this, like it looks grim, like, and it sounds grim, and we're not trying to be grim. We're trying to keep it as real as it is. But it's halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And if like the goal is a MLS Cup, like there's time to gel and to put this together. I just haven't seen enough.
No, and it, like you said, it's all
like, hey, can we make a run at it game after game in a tournament style? I just need to see that in the second half.
it's out of love for this team, right?
For sure.
I mean, we've got 1 point in our last 3 matches, which is, not what you want to see. Like you said, we're lacking a little bit of effort towards goal and down a goal, which is actually, it's crazy. This is only our second loss, right? Our second 1-goal loss in the season out of, the 10 matches that we've either won or lost by 1 goal. But Ryan, June coming up. I mean, we're going to touch on it here at the end of the podcast, but we go from 7 matches in May to 3 in all of June. So hopefully the rest and the time is able to help us a little bit figure out on the training ground the 11 that we want to go out with. I do want to shout out Kai Kamara, though. He came on, gave us some good minutes, gave us a couple header looks that honestly required a good save from one of the DC United or from the DC United keeper. So could have had his first, goal for us there, but he made his 450th MLS regular season appearance. He's only the 4th player in MLS history to do that. Ramondo, Beckerman, and Dax McCarty are the other guys that have done that. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Kai. The big question I had received a lot of thoughts about was like why Kai in the second half, like why switch it up. But I think if you see the way that they were pressing, like clearly we weren't able to break the press, against DC. They pressed a lot higher than Dallas, than a lot of Atlanta did. So if we can't beat the press, what were we doing a lot in the first half? We were booting it long. We were just kicking it over top. And then if Denke's up there by himself and Dotto's not a hold-up guy, and Roman's not accurate with his passes to the strikers, then where are we holding the ball? We're always under pressure. So I don't mind Kai coming in at half to try to establish a bigger body up there, to hold the ball, to win headers. It's just, how can we find Dotto to stay on the pitch? Maybe that's the question. Why him to sub out?
Yeah.
Maybe there's someone else that we can, bring off in the center back role, maybe, and go 4-back. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, you got to keep your... You got to reward your players that are playing well. You got to find them in the right spots. Obviously, this week we didn't have it, but we're halfway through. We got other opportunities. Sam, we're halfway through this episode, and I'm going to give you a trivia question of the week presented by GOLZ TV. So Kevin Denke holds the record now for most goals in the first half of the MLS season for FC Cincinnati with 11 goals. Who is the next best, and how many goals does that person have?
Are we talking like USL 2 or MLS
Just
or
MLS.
just MLS? Okay. Okay. So first half of the season, I'm gonna have to go Brenner on this one. I feel like he started the first half of the season pretty hot. Maybe like 2022, I'm gonna say.
How many goals did he get?
I'm gonna go 8.
Sam's locking it in. Brenner with 8. We will tell you guys at the end of the episode. Hey, FC Cincinnati fans. We are pumped to share our 2025 sponsor, Peak Cocktails.
Oh, dude, Peak Cocktails, I absolutely love it. I am so excited to have them as a partner. Ryan, I am sipping right now on the Blood Orange Spritz. It is absolutely amazing. If you're that type of person that wants something subtle, right? Little ginger flavor, this is the one for you. A little bit of a recipe, promotes exercise recovery, enhances the relaxation a little bit. What are you sipping on over there?
Yeah, I got the passion fruit margarita. It kind of fits my dad bod life for that I got going on right now. I'm trying to be a little bit more health conscious and have that lifestyle. But yeah, I could also sip it on the beach, which is nice about it. I mean, you can have that versatility. If you just want it as a nice sip, or if you want it as like a post recovery drink, like this is what Peak is. I mean, we love it. We adore some. I've been following Peak for a couple of years now. But yeah, again, go check out Peak Cocktails. We love them. Next time you're looking for, like we said, any of what we had described, post-workout drink, just a little pick-me-up. If you're drinking on the beach there as the summer's coming up here, go check them out. www.peakcocktails.com and use the code Flyin Lion at your checkout, and you'll get 20% off your first order. Sam, enjoy that drink. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for joining us tonight. If you have made it this far, thank you. We greatly appreciate it. Like, we had 2 not so great games. You had 1 tie, going in there, a loss at home. But hey, you're here. You're listening. You want to hear a fun side of the episode. Stay for the rest, because I guarantee you it will be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of ranting. But Sam, roll me into your jersey swaps of the week.
Are we going jersey swaps or are we going cards?
Do you want to go? All right. It was not a great week. Let's flip it around. We'll do card. We'll go card of the week first.
We got to stay consistent. We got to give the people,
right.
right? Like, we got to keep ourselves accountable. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, card of the week for me is just world soccer droughts. Screw all the world soccer droughts that came into 2025, because a bulk of them have been beaten, Ryan. So shout out to, first of all, PSG winning their first Champions League trophy, destroying Inter Milan. It's been 70 years since Newcastle's last major trophy, 51 years since Bologna's last major trophy, 31 years for a major trophy for Harry Kane. Shout out to him and Bayern. First major trophy in Crystal Palace history. Didn't really like that one, obviously, City fan. And then lastly, of course, the laughing stock that has been the Tottenham Hotspurs, 17 years since their last major trophy. So their trophy clause is no longer, just cobwebs.
The backhanded card from Sam. The patented backhanded card. The card that's actually like we did it.
Like an Uno reverse.
It's an Uno reverse.
Yeah.
No, I like it. I mean, the drought was ended for LA Galaxy, Sam.
I know. Orishano still hasn't scored a goal.
So whoever picked that, the Galaxy would win. That's probably a fair bet, considering how many matches and.
Well, see. Now we're doing it again. LA Galaxy is now a part of the card. Every single one, right? Okay, so do we? Is this it? Like,
this is it. We're nixing it.
This is the last.
This is the
last mention. Yeah. Well, we play them though.
Until we have to play them.
Yeah, until we play them. Yeah.
We'll see. So my card of the week, Sam. It's the worst week for me for FC Cincinnati in recent history. It was a tough week when you're amped to go to the game, midweek. And I told you middle of the week, man, I woke up today saying I get to see my team play, just to fall on their face. And I will always love that I can wake up and say I'm going to see my team play. We haven't had a week like this in a while. So my backhanded card is the fact that it hasn't come in a while. but yellow card for the fact that this week was not fun. Hopefully it's short-lived and we figure it out on this break.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you walk into the midweek game and there's all the Lucho talk, right? That's the buzz around FC Cincinnati land of, are we booing him? Are we not? What's going on? So yeah, absolutely. That's a game that we both look forward to. And the first half was great. And it was the place was buzzing, and Nick Hagelin was sending photos from the hospital, right? And so I am watching the game, boys. By the way, I'm pretty sure he used our login, right? So anybody out there,
we're gonna need that back.
We changed the password. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I think obviously this week has been tough, but like we said, get to reset. June is a whole new month, and hopefully we can find our 11.
Yeah, building on like your reset. This person you're going to shout out, how can they kind of build it up? So let me hear your jersey swap and how they can make the team better coming forward.
Yeah. So I went back and forth with my jersey swap this week. My jersey swap is going to be Yedlin. I just think he had a great assist in the FC Dallas game, and he's been a little under the radar when it comes to assisting this season. He's actually tied for second most on the team with 3 assists in the MLS. He actually created the most chances in the FC Dallas match with 5. Won all of his duels in that match as well. Obviously in the DC United game, wish we would have seen a little bit more effort on the defensive side, but yeah, I want to give him his flowers though. The other one, obviously Buka with the goal against FC Dallas. That was a great goal, and he facilitated offensively and defensively in both games. It was unfortunate to see Pat take him out in the FC Dallas game.
Yeah, I agree more with the Buka than the Yedlin.
I know.
I think
got to mix it up.
He has his moments. It's just like on offense, I don't think he's a wing back. Like I think he's more of just a true right back. And if he just stayed as a right back, I think you'd get a lot more.
His service is great. Yeah.
Services are iffy, personally.
I mean,
he's had nice assists.
This past week.
In some of them, though, he's airmailing it over the whole middle of the field. Like, what are we doing? So I just want more consistency. I'm seeing flashes from him. If he can, then he's going to earn that spot. And, that's it. Like, Orshano's not going to threaten him for it like we'd seen in the last few games. But my jersey swap, Sam, it was a no-brainer. It was Kevin Denke. I mean, he's probably your midseason MVP for FCC. 11 goals now on the season. Gets a PK midweek, gets a run-a-play goal with his left boot, I'm going to say, on Saturday from a nice direct shot. So Denke has been as advertised, and I hope we can keep him, honestly, just because like this guy's a stud, and we got to somehow continue to find him in good spots. And I think that's the next progression, is using Denke in the right way. So in the second half, I want the production to stay there, but I want him to kind of be more involved in the offensive third, in the build-up play, maybe in that part. I don't know. He's more of a kind of float around kind of guy. I don't think he should be the sole striker, though, is what I've learned, from this first half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we see flashes of it, like him and Evander, right? Those 2 goals that they've been able to hook up on have looked effortless.
Mm-hmm.
Like that goal between him and Evander in this DC United game was phenomenal. Like he hit it one time, Evander knew where he was going to be, and Denke kind of closed out that spot and made that spot available for him to pass. So you see the flashes, right? We see it. And so, yeah, obviously, like you said, we just have to get the ball to Denke for him to be able to create.
Well, create and to just put it away.
Finish.
Like, yeah. I mean,
create a goal.
You have sustained, I saw it in the Dallas game where Luka's getting the end line and finding Denke, in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Or Evander, in the first game doesn't get an assist for it, but plays him behind, and he outbeats, the keeper to get the PK, which honestly, my card of the week should have been the fact that there was no card on that one-on-one.
Yeah.
It's a
That was pretty
dog so.
bad.
It's the last
That's pretty
defender.
bad.
He
Yeah.
takes him out, and there's not even a card. That should have been my card.
We touched on that. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that you're seeing a little bit more connection between them in the way that he wants it. I think maybe the first part of the season was a trial, like it should be, very
It's just
well.
slower than you would want.
He is slower, is that
No,
what you're
no,
saying?
no. I'm just saying like the relationship, right? Like
Oh, the
we've seen
slow
it build.
development
Yeah,
between,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's just slower than you would ideally want, but
That's ideal. I mean, like, but you bring in a new 10 and a new 9, and they're not always going to click, even in their first season, Sam. That's a
no,
lot to
yeah,
ask. And
yeah,
at least, one guy had been in the MLS and has been in the MVP conversation and still is with Evander. But Denke's new to the league, and sometimes you get, more of that sophomore bump than really your rookie campaign coming out and killing it. The Goss theorem for everyone who watches soccer wise. But yeah, I feel like a lot to build on. We talked about both of these players. They're going to be pivotal, I think, coming to the second half. But before we do touch on that first half review, we'll do a national team kind of call up shout out here. We had Miles Robinson that officially made the U.S. men's national team roster for Gold Cup. They're going to have a couple of friendlies. I think we shouted it out before, but go and check it out because FCC won't have a game for, another week and a half. So June 7th, this Saturday, Turkey, U.S. is going to be playing them. Let's see how we do. And then the 10th against Switzerland. Two solid opponents, Sam, in 11 players from the MLS. I think we had Zimmerman, who just got added in,
yeah.
and a couple of other guys as well. I went on my rant about the U.S. men's national team the last time. I'm happy that Miles made it. He honestly has had some shaky starts here recently after I called him out for being so good. But Miles is going to give you consistency. I think he's going to build with the guys that are around him on this national team. You put it in here. I want to hear your response, Sam. Does Miles Robinson start for this Gold Cup roster?
Yeah, so looking at the center backs for the U.S. men's national team, you got Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, and Walker Zimmerman, and of course Miles Robinson. So you look at those guys, and I mean, he's got to at least start. Miles at least has to start, in my opinion, one of those games. Maybe you see Pochettino stick with the Tim Ream, Chris Richards, back line, which I know we roll our eyes. I roll my eyes as well, right? If it were up to me, right, it'd probably be Chris Richards, Miles Robinson, ideally. So we're hoping that Poch goes that way because both of them deserve it. Chris Richards coming off, a cup win, right? But yeah, I think competition, ideally Miles should win a spot.
Man, this is a good comp for him though. Like, what an opportunity to go and show that you belong on the roster. And then, who else do we have that's not in this camp that is really competing and fighting for that starting spot? If you want to call the A squad, there's parts of them that are in this camp, but I mean, Richards is probably your other starting center back. And then I would say Mark McKenzie because he's in the, the top league in France, but I think Miles has got a decent shot, like you said, at least in one of the friendlies. The question, once we get into the actual competition, will he take that for his own? We'll see how he does, but he's got a lot to play for. And I would hope, is upset that he didn't make the 2022 World Cup roster, so because of his injury, obviously. So how can he kind of take that to the next level now and say, I want to make this squad for next year?
Yeah.
On the other side, Sam, we had Teenage Hadebe. He gets a call up for the Zimbabwe national team. They're going to have some interesting games coming up here, two of them in this international window. And they're going to be played in Morocco, like we shouted out last time. Last played a match for them back in November. It feels like it was recent or more recent. Did he go over there?
Well, that was the last time he played. That was the last time he played. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that was the last time he made an appearance in the 11, was November 11, 2024. He played all 90 minutes that game, but that was the last time he was called up. So, they had played some other international friendlies since then, maybe a World Cup qualifier since then as well. So hopefully no travel issues. I think that's all we're hoping for Hadebe on that one, is just no travel issues. Like, have fun in Morocco, but no travel issues.
That seems to be the issue with sometimes going over there. But Amir Dali, Sam, he gets his first call up for Antigua and Barbuda.
If you're listening, it was yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome to see a guy who broke his clavicle, in that Motagua game earlier on in the season at TQL. Glad to see. It sounds like he's healthy. I really hadn't heard much since then, honestly.
I know, yeah,
But he
and then
gets
gets a
called into
call
camp,
up. Yeah.
which is nice for him. A smaller, Caribbean country, I believe. Caribbean, I think it.
Yeah, so actually, which is crazy, this is his first call up for a senior team, and so he actually, I believe I don't know if he made an appearance, but he was in the U17 U.S. Youth National Team at one point. So I don't know if he played a match or not, but I don't know. That's what Transfer Market says, But Stefan Trilla, though, he also got the U18 Romania call up. Nice to see. Obviously, the young guys getting called up. Hasn't been in the best of form with FCC2, but hopefully maybe getting with his national team, able to rejuvenate something over there.
Interesting that he chose Romania, versus the U.S.
Family ties. Yeah.
I would imagine, but at the same token, if he had that many goals last year, he did so well. Like,
He's probably getting looks. Yeah.
don't you think the U.S. was calling him as well?
Well, you got to think future-wise, right? Like, how many people were in my way, right?
True.
So, I don't know.
But I mean, I would love to see both of these players, honestly make that next step like Dado. Shout out to a person on Twitter, I forget who exactly it was, made a side-by-side graphic, I believe, of Dado, and then who's the guy from Inter Miami, the young guy?
Oh, shoot. It starts with a C. I have no idea.
Benjamin Kramaski. Yeah. So
Yeah, Kamaski.
if you look side by side, I think one has had 21 matches, the other has had 13. One has 4 goals, the other one has 1 goal. Can you tell me which one is which?
Dado's the one with 4 goals, right? Come on now.
So it's very interesting that Kramaski was getting looks by the US.
Yeah, big time.
And overseas, but in less matches and more goals. Dado's making some waves. Now we just got to get Pat to see that consistently and keep playing him. But yeah, I think that's the next step for some of these guys. But shout out to the youth for making their respective national teams. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Ryan, we hinted to this in the beginning of the episode. We get into this, right? The first half review for FC Cincinnati. The big question. Go ahead.
So as it stands, again, second place in the East.
Yeah.
Third, I believe, in Supporter Shield.
Yeah.
So overall, let's remind ourselves
we're still good.
We're in a good spot. 17 games in. You have Leagues Cup, coming up, and then end of the season push into playoffs later on.
Still have 3 opportunities for a trophy.
Yep.
Still 3.
Absolutely. And then transfer window. So, but yeah, the question, let's start with it. You're going to say 4-back system, Sam. Is this the best option for this team?
Man, oh man. I know. As of right now, yeah. In my head, as of right now, just the way that our players play right now, I think pushing Engel up too far and pushing Yedlin up too far on the wings have killed us, right? When they are our left back or our right back, respectively. Like you had said, Engel not being able to, he sinks in too deep. And I feel like if he was more of an out and out left back and not being able to have a little bit more time, right, and to recover, maybe he would meet the ball further up the pitch rather than having to recover back, and then he takes a couple steps further back than he would normally. And on Yedlin's side, right? Yedlin, we wish he'd be more out and out right back rather than busting up the wing a little bit too far, and he can't finish. So he's nothing that's going to surprise you in the box, right? Of like, oh wow. But yeah, out of the 4-back system, I think you don't trust Hadebe right now, which he has all the MLS experience that you would want out of a center back. He's just mentally, it just looks like something's a little off there. So hoping he's able to adjust that. But yeah, right now for me, Ryan, 4-back system makes the most sense. And then obviously whatever you want to do in the midfield, Buka's a mainstay. for us on this podcast, Dotto is a mainstay as well. And then I'm sure we'd want to take Obi right in the midfield over Anunga. So, and then up top, Evander and Denke, right?
Yeah, so
And
lay
maybe
it out,
Santos
Bill.
up top.
Sure. So I tweeted this out midweek because I think it's important to look at after we've seen several of these games. Like even when we played five in the back, like we haven't always looked solid and we've gotten lucky in some chances. So if you lay it out in the back, if you want to put your best foot forward, in my opinion, you put Miles, you put Miazga in the middle. You have Engel and you have Yedlin on the width, and you simplify their roles. Like you said, neither of these guys had a ton of history playing wingback styles. Barrial was able to fit that and never had played it before, but was able because he was younger to get up and back and recover.
Yeah.
And you had Yerson Mascara as your guy to recover for you. Simplify the game. Have Engel next to a veteran defender in Robinson. Have them stay home. And I feel like that solves some of your issues if Obi can sit in front of them and have him just focus on being that guy in the midfield, that destroyer, like he's been so good at. So for me, I really think simplifying the game in a lot of ways would help this team. And like you said, because you've seen that we've been exposed, especially on the width in recent history. So if you want to put Luka anywhere, to me personally, he looked the best in the FC Dallas game in an advanced position. Put him at left wing, put Dotto as a right wing, Evander in the center as a 10, and Denke up top. And you interchange the three behind him because you've seen Luka go to the right, you've seen Evander drift out to the left, you could get Luka to drive at the defense in the middle. Interchange those three guys and have Denke stay up, and you're going to get a lot more flow in the offense and creativity. So for me, that's kind of where I'm seeing things, and I think where we really should hammer home in 2 weeks. Now is the time to teach this team how to do it and to stay that way the rest of the season. Don't keep switching it up. Don't keep switching up your personnel and where these guys are playing. I know you're trying to throw it out there and get it to stick, but stick to a plan. Set and define roles for your players and make them succeed that way. They don't succeed when they're constantly having to change where they're playing and what they're doing. I'm not pointing, fingers at one particular person, but I'm starting to get a little frustrated by what the plan is for this team. And I think
absolutely.
if you simplify it, go back to the drawing board and say, this is what worked, the best before. How do we apply this to this group? And for me, it's to simplify those roles.
No, I agree. I think you make the best point of Luka did look dangerous against DC or against Dallas. He had if you want to call it a hockey assist, right? That back post ball to Yedlin that creates a goal. So him being able to drive on that left side with the Evander as a recovery piece, right? To be right there in the middle or right on his side like Evander likes to do. And then maybe Evander's whipping in, an upper 90 shot, right? And there you go. Like, yeah, I like your thoughts there. Absolutely.
Well,
and
it's funny to me to see like people say like, why would you go to a 4-back when you had 9 goals scored against you with a 5-back? 4 of those goals were set pieces. So that can be changed. That's easy to change. The other ones, look at the ball in the Dallas game that was played. That's on Flores and Luka for not getting back. Mm-hmm. Again, 2 guys that hadn't played together the whole season, and Luka, who was way too high up. Simplify it. You drop 4 in the back, and you always have that person back there to mark a guy.
Yeah, because the wing backs they're not having to move up. You don't have to move them up.
Exactly.
They're just staying
Focus
a little
on
bit
defense.
back. They're there as a resource piece in case the wingers get stuck. Right. Absolutely. So Ryan, with that said, defense is collapsing a little bit lately. Like you said, 9 goals in 3 games. Do you think this is more due to the injuries, or do we really just not have the depth that we thought we had coming into the season?
The depth is there. It's utilizing the guys in the correct position, just as I just had alluded to, and putting the pieces in the right place to succeed. I think we're lacking a little bit in the right. I would probably say right back spot is the one spot. Maybe Powell, could be that backup there as well. You're gonna see Sam because in June, Hagelin's gonna be out probably till mid to end of July, maybe even a little bit longer, and then you have Robinson that's out. You're gonna have even less guys and options to choose from. Why not now go back to simplifying it with 2 guys there instead of 3, and then you have no one to draw in off the bench. Like that for me personally is what I would say. What's your thought on that?
No, I agree. It gives you that extra defender sub that you wouldn't have out of a 5-back, right? Because you'd have to be throwing that defender out there to reinforce it, and then, like you said, you'd have to bring in a guy from FCC2 possibly to be that just defender piece on the bench, or
Powell or Yedlin
or Corey
playing
Baird,
in.
right, at left back or right back, and then you run into a situation that nobody wants. So Ryan, I posed this question to you because we saw it on socials, right? Everybody saw it. Yerson Mosquera, you just mentioned his name. He had an injury during this past season, so the rumor is that he's looking to get loaned out in order to get some minutes back. Do we? I mean, no. Do we try?
That ship has sailed, Sam. He did well at Wolves, and Real Betis and Villarreal, I think, are the 2 teams again that were interested. This time, he's coming off of a major ACL injury. He's been out for months. I would love to fancy Yerson Mosquera. I love Yerson to get to death. I mean, I think the best of Yerson, but there's no way, in my opinion, that's an option. I will pose this next question based on what you had said here. If we look at transfer window in, the final, I should say, like 9 or 10 matches that potentially this person or persons, could come in and contribute, where do you look at, Sam? Where's the position of need right now?
That's what I'm saying. When Hagelin went out, right, and now Miazga is looking a little. Do we reshift the focus? I know you and we were looking at the midfield the entire year because we need a guy that is able not to take Buka's place, but heaven forbid something happens to Buka or his legs just aren't it. We need somebody that's able to be that box-to-box midfielder and can step in and, there's not much of a drop-off and is able to, help us win games and see those games out, especially when we're up. Now, do we go center back, though? Because now, like I had stated, Hagelin's out, Miazga, and you're missing Miles for, a couple months, and who knows, what his form will be like coming out of, Gold Cup. I don't know, dude. It's I would say those are the 2 glaring things. You could also make a case for a striker as well.
Your options are limited, though.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We're short on spots, senior roster spots, and the model we're in currently is the 4 U22 and 2 designated player. You can switch in the summer, but you lose a boatload of the GAM if you go to 3 DPs, and we have a lot of players requiring GAM.
That are on that, yeah.
So if it's a U22, Sam, I don't know if I trust them any more than Flores to come in and say that's another center back.
That piece was supposed to be Sharilla was supposed to step up a little bit as, that younger kid, to put the minutes.
Well, then Kai Kamara took that spot.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
So, I mean, where do you go? I think you're right. I think a U22 center midfielder would be a good shout for like a backup final 15, 20-minute role, because I don't see anyone in the academy directly that's going to fill that, in this moment, and that's going to change the game.
Who is the Revs guy that went to the Earthquakes?
Yeah, Noel Buck would have been a nice shout there for sure. I'll still hold on to that. Yeah, I think for me that's what you look at. The question is, can you drop players? I mean, we haven't seen that from this team where mid-season they've made moves, to subtract to add. You really haven't seen that. Would you agree? I mean, you've seen the situations like Brenner getting moved on.
I was about to say that's the only situation.
I mean, what other situations where we have like dropped a player maybe that hasn't been contributing as much in the middle of the season? Like you have kind of these buyout situations. I don't know. Nothing tells me that they're going to do that, but something I feel like has to change. And whether it's, like we said, formation wise, whether it's, plan wise, whether it's having that established leader on the field, as well to kind of get the team into gear when we really need it. I don't think like the player that we're going to bring in is necessarily based on what we currently have in the set roster, June 2nd, 2025 here. I don't see that U22 impact player being the it person. So we have to look internal, I think, is the biggest thing I'm getting at here. Unless other people are gone, you have to get the best out of this collective group. Now, this being said, does Luca Orishano finally make his move?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest looming question, other than, who are we bringing in? I think that's a bigger question of, is Luca going? Is that going to be the piece that, okay, Pat doesn't have to continue to try and find this talent a spot on the starting 11 every single time. He doesn't have to have that headache anymore. He can just, it's a big question. It's a big question for the rest of this offseason as you look into July. But
Sam, who was the team that was interested in Luca?
They just won the Champions
5-0 last night
Yeah.
against Vancouver. Can you imagine adding him to that roster?
Well, they definitely added some more money. So
tell me where he's going to play there. He's going to get a huge pay raise, but and again, this isn't our problem if that's the case and we do sell. But like, they just won 5-0 in the Champions Cup.
Yeah,
final.
do you need him? Yeah.
I mean, I guess the idea is that I believe Cruz Azul is going to be in the Club World Cup. I believe. Is that have you remembered seeing that?
I don't know. Club World Cup. Doesn't look. Yeah, they're in the. Yeah, they are.
So they're looking to add maybe to bolster themselves, for this tournament,
Maybe
potentially. But
sorry, nope. That's
no,
no. No, I guess I'm not.
I think it was Pachuca was the team that I had.
Yeah, they won last year.
And Club America was against LAFC, and LAFC won to go
that
in.
game.
But I don't know, man. That's the question, and depending on if he opens up that spot, would dictate a lot moving forward. The fit for him for the squad will constantly be a question as long as he's here and he's pressing for that first goal. And I think that's creating a lot of issues for him personally in maybe shooting when he should pass and passing when he should shoot. And maybe you see that resolved if he gets that first goal. It'll be interesting to see. So stay tuned for all of this. That is our first half review. We're still in a solid spot. We're second place in the East in this crazy MLS season where the East is heavily stacked. But I'm excited to see what goes on the second half, Sam. I'm going to give you our trivia question here and our answer. So Kevin Denke holds the record for most goals in the first half of the MLS season for FC Cincinnati with 11. Who is the next best and how many goals? This was just in MLS play. Sam, you nailed the number. It was 8 goals. But it was Brandon Vasquez in 2022. Second behind him, a tie here, was Lucho with himself 2 different times as well. And then I think besides that, Kubo actually was second last year. So 7 goals for Lucho and Kubo. And then Vasquez, like I said, with 8 was the winner in 2022 in 17 matches.
Interesting. Yeah.
Brenner, interestingly, didn't have his hot run in 2022 until later on in the season.
Yeah.
He had only 4 goals in the first 17 games and ended up getting 14 in the next 17.
That's wild. Yeah. I mean, Brandon Vasquez got the number and the year right, just not the right player.
Sure did. You sure did. But thanks again for joining us on this episode. We hope you enjoyed, again, our interview with Jose. We'll be back next week for this international break. We'll kind of do a recap of the U.S. men's national team friendlies. We're going to talk about the All-Star game voting in that episode as well. And then moving forward, how TQL is going to be hosting Club World Cup here come soon.
Might have a special guest.
Special guest might be involved with that one too. So hope you guys, again, enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.